One of the things that definitely gets out of whack, I mean, not horrifically, but does, is my bending. And getting that back on point is probably the single most important thing that I do when I'm, getting reacquainted with the guitar after not playing for a week or two, doing another musical task, right? And the bending is the thing. By the way, all of these exercises that I'm showing you can be done for the first time. So if you haven't, had to do a lead do-over, but you want to learn how to do some stuff, you can utilize all of these techniques and tips and tricks to get to that destination a lot quicker. I'm just calling it a do-over because for me to say that I'm learning how to bend for the first time would be ridiculous. And I want people who do take breaks from playing to not be so afraid of getting back to the instrument. I think there psychologically there's this like, I haven't played in a while, and it's like I got to play now, and I'm not sure how it's going to be. And sometimes like before designing this course, even for my own private self, I remember back in the day, like, going on a gig, going on a tour, and coming back and not playing for like a week or two and just dealing with family household stuff, with the kids and things. And then having to get ready for some other, project. And I'm like, oh, gosh, I haven't played in a couple of weeks. What do I do? And I remember it just being kind of frustrating. And that's when I realized, okay, I'm going to have these breaks that are going to happen probably. And I put this together, not so formally, but I put it together with what are the things that I need to work on one thing at a time. And then after some hours and about 3 days of really just kind of focusing, I got all the stuff back. And sometimes I'm even better than I was when I put it down, the guitar down. So just wanted to keep that to you guys as an aside. So the bending, most important thing. Sometimes you're going to hear me bend out of tune. It's not preferred. And I would say to myself that was not good, because I'm not really into it. I think bending in key is really important. So how do we do that? Let's take A minor, but this time let's take A minor pentatonic in natural minor. There are some specific fingerings that I use that I want to get strong again. For example, my middle finger. So I want to be able to bend. So you got to find that pitch, right? Now, a lot of times that can be tough if the fingers haven't been moving for a while, right? And I intentionally hit it off so that you guys can see how the bends can be off. But what I like to do is there's a specific technique for this middle finger bending. I like to pedal on this A right here. And then I like to bring it down and complete the phrase. Now, it's not just about hitting this note. It's about hitting the note and having the note bloom, open up. So let me show you what that means. So I'm getting some harmonics and overtones right when I hit the note that I'm bending to, and that's what I call bloom. Now, that can vary depending on how I pick with the right hand. So bending is not just about getting the left hand in sync, it's about picking the note in sync to be able to get the note to bloom. I use, the pick matters too, in the pick material, and we'll get into that in a second, but let me just play this phrase a few more times so you guys can get an understanding. So I get all 3 fingers. The pinky, I rarely, if ever, I don't even know if I don't think I ever bend with my pinky. I don't. I can honestly say that I don't bend with my pinky. And if you ever have seen me bend a note with my pinky, like in a live scenario or a video, it was totally by accident. And if I nailed it, it's probably because I was super lucky. But this pinky is not used when I bend. I'm a 3-finger guy mostly. Obviously, I use my pinky. It's very important for many lines and phrasing as well as for chords. But in terms of bending, I isolate it to 1, 2, and 3. So this particular lick allows me to get that. So I was flat there, not there. And try to avoid vibrato and really just focus on the accuracy of the pitch. That's going to be the most important thing. Obviously, vibrato can be added, but if the sole purpose is to focus on getting pitch of the bend, it's most important to just nail that pitch. So once again. So it's important that your strings are relatively new. Mine are sort of mucked up, so I have to adjust a little bit because when there's crud on the strings, believe it or not, it does change how much you got to bend subtly to get that pitch. You'll learn to adjust as time goes on. And really, the other thing that this is kind of a dual purpose exercise. The other thing it does is it really forces your ear to focus on the pitch. So in a way, I'm killing multiple birds with one stone with one exercise. I'm getting all 3 fingers lined up to get pitch correct with the bending, and I'm really listening to make sure those bends are in key. So without further ado, let me show you how I practice this in time. And the most important thing with all of these exercises, with getting the do-over on the leads, is going to be the timing. Because ultimately, I'm not playing lead guitar by myself. I'm playing guitar to music. And music typically, it has a time. A time signature as well as a tempo. So we want to be able to nail this. I'm going to do this at 90 BPM, and we're going to see how it turns out. That drum track will be made available to you for you to practice. In fact, I'm going to have different tempos so you can practice them at different tempos. And a brief recap of what I did while I was playing with the tempo is I had a bit of a pause in between each finger bending. And the reason why is because if your fingers are getting warmed up and you're repeating a task, it can often trick you into thinking that you got something because you're in a repetitive motion. But if you have to start over from fresh every time and you're nailing it, then you own it at that point. So I practiced that for hours, hours. And I'll even do that, before I even start recording guitar and tracking, just to make sure that I'm focused and my fingers are understanding what they need to do. So thank you for joining me. I'm going to see you in the next lesson.